Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful Wednesday with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. And you see on the screen with me is the beautiful Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse. This is my lady. I'm going to tell you, I'm partial to this woman. Ever since we've met, we have become very close. And let me tell you this also, when it comes to my finances, ever since I've met this woman and has had her when I've been in her presence and on her show, I've literally grown in many ways financially. There was a mess prior before that. So I will give this lady all her props to her face, as they say, smell her flowers or whatever the case is. And before I do bring her on, I do want to thank you very, very much. It's going to be fun. But let's deal with the sponsors. One is um, Portia Cooper, who is having her conference this weekend on Saturday, the 19th of October. You see it there on the screen. So please, for those of you who wants to be in attendance to learn the blockchain, crypto, things like that. And then in November, she's going to be talking about how you can uh, purchase property without owning it. Without having it physically or something like that. There's all kinds of ways they're doing it. If squatters are doing it, I don't see why not. Then Nicholas Brooklyn. Okay, 50 years in business. And in fact, they're going to have a pop up in about 2 weeks with my guest who was on Wednesday talking about precious metals. He's going to have a pop up workshop. It was a very nice turnout, too. Okay. Also, King Simon. Hold up. Where's this? Okay, there you go. King Simon, he is sponsoring the show for the end of the month coming up with Sister Amira Hassan, and I forgot the other young lady, Tom, Tamika Royal. Tamika Royal. Okay, there we go. And in fact, I'm trying to get King Simon on because the man is so busy. Trying to get him to come on to talk about that before. Also, Miss Kimberly with Manifest on Purpose and talking about who is sponsoring the show. And in fact, she's going to have an event coming up on Vision Board Mastery, how to envision what you would want for the year coming up. Also, Reza Islam about his intellectual power supplement that's awesome. You click on the QR code and you will get a 10% discount. So before we go to my beautiful guest, today is Wednesday. I think I did everything perfectly today. First of all, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, I got that out the way. This is Wednesday, October the 16th, 2024. The sun is in Libra, full moon in Aries. Well, technically, the full moon is supposed to be tomorrow in the evening, about 7, a little after 7. But right now it's in Aries. So as far as I'm concerned, it's full moon. So when you look up in the heaven, you can see the full moon just as bright. So anyway, it's a 9 universal week. Excuse me, a 9 universal month, a 3 universal week, a 7 universal day. For those who happen to be Pisces, such as my guests, uh, hold on one second. I had a little temporary interruption there. Cancers or Pisces or those born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, 20th, 25th, or 29th of the month. Well, you are the favorite ones today. All right. So without further ado, I would like to bring on my guest, none other than Dr. Woodhouse. Jana, I call her. But I've earned it because I've been doing it a while. You all can call her Dr. Woodhouse, respect it. But Yana's all right with me. Yana's my girl. Yana, how you doing?
I am blessed, Lloyd, and I'm on your show, so you know this is a good day for me. And I've gotten through tax season, so I'm a happy camper. I've rested, so I'm good to go on my mission.
Good, 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 good. It was interesting because this whole thing has been about money. I've had on a lot of guests talking about kind of financial related things. There was one guest I had on last week in Kiru, um, and he was explaining about precious metals, but he was also saying that investors or something can't tell them. And in fact, that's what prompted you to be on here because you said that's not quite correct based upon certain criteria. Can you explain that, please?
Sure. He made this statement, and I was enjoying the show because I was on listening. I listen. That's my regular. And if I'm not in town, then I listen. And then if not, I get the recording on YouTube.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But he made the statement that financial advisors, investment brokers cannot even talk about precious metals, and that was wrong. It depends on your financial advisor or your financial educator has certain licenses, and it depends on what those licenses are. You can talk, and of course precious metals are important to a portfolio. There is not a be all and end all to everything. You can't, diversification is the word. So you have to be able to diversify. If you've got precious metals, they'll serve certain process, and then you have stocks and bonds, and then you may have some fixed products like annuities, mutual funds. But the persons who can speak about that are fiduciaries. Those are
Now, what
people,
is a fiduciary?
getting ready to tell you, those are the
Okay.
people who have a certain licensing, which is usually the series 66 or 65. I hold the 66 because I'm also a series 7 broker. So the series that you hear about when you meet a broker is what they're eligible to present to you. So if they can present to you, if they're a stockbroker, they usually will be able to do stocks, bonds, and fixed products. But a fiduciary, by its title, is that you must show that you have the best interest for the client. It is mandated that we do that. And so the client comes first. There's best interest, reg 187, that says that you must show, because if you don't, you're in trouble. You can be sued. So
Really interesting.
yes. So the fiduciary is at the highest level in the market as far as a broker is concerned. And I, as a fiduciary, I definitely, as I speak to my clients, will I include gold? Yes, I have a more of an efficiency towards pure golds, coins, and bullions as opposed to certificates, because a certificate is nice, but that's not the real deal.
That's on paper to me.
That's all that it is. And so, for the coins, I was with him all the way up till he said that. And I said, wait a minute, because he's shying my people, my folks, away from talking to brokers. That's not good. You just have to, just like you go to the doctor and the doctor has a specialty, there's a certain level they can talk on. Your oncologist is not going to talk to you about your leg, and
Yeah.
arthritis.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same thing is with the investment world. We can talk about, yes, we do talk about, especially fiduciaries, and you ask the person that you're interviewing to become your financial advisor, are they a fiduciary? And if
Okay.
you're not holding those license, the 66 or the 65, well, you may not really want to deal with them. But I'm not saying not, because they can do other things for you. But the fiduciary is the highest standing.
I have a question. Do you have 66 and 65?
Well, you can have both, but because I'm a series 7, my 7 is goes it pairs with the 66, and then the series 6, which is the ones who do the mutual funds and UIT's different products, those people take the 65, because what the 65 is a mixture between the 7 and the 6, so it sort of makes them come to a higher standard.
Well, see, here's why. You know how well we know each other. I know you're
Yes.
born on June the 30th, and your most important numbers are the 3, 2, and 7. So when you said 66, I thought of 12, which is a 3. I said that makes sense. And then when you said 65, that's 11 or 2. That makes sense. And you said number 7. Those are all your numbers.
Yes, they are. And I'm it. That's why I think that no matter what, I was supposed to be in this business. And a lot of the people have shortchanged their criteria, uh, and some have gone to other certifications. Right now, the market has changed greatly. The securities industry is now doing something that I've been doing for years. Is that I believe in financial literacy, that if you know better, you will do better. But if I just say do it because I say so, it
It's
doesn't
not
work.
quite the same.
It doesn't work. It's just like a little child when the mother tells them, don't touch that stove, and they say, why? Well, because I said so. No, because it's hot. Explain it.
Hmm.
So when you get ready to put together your financial strategy, you should know, because tomorrow's not promised to me, even though I believe I'm going to live forever.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
need to know why you're doing certain things and what kind of changes are going to take place in your portfolio.
I've been trying to keep up with some of these things, and it goes past my head, but you got to be in the business. And I know you were the first woman, one of the few women, much less a woman of color, on Wall Street. So I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you these things that I'll hear that goes right over my head, such as short. What is a short? It ain't about the height, is it?
And see, that's what's so important, Lloyd. And I got to say is that you're right. The industry has a vocabulary that people just don't get it. Okay, so what's short? It means you don't own it, but you can sell it or you can buy it. You can buy it on the market.
You
So,
could tell from my face, that's like, huh?
and
Well, basically, go ahead.
I say that to folks when they're dealing in the market. I'm like, okay, you're shorting it. Why? Because you have not bought it. But what will allow you to do is to buy it or sell it. And it can do like some of the futures that exist that you can buy in the future at a certain price. But shorting it means I don't, and I may buy it on margin. That's another term. Margin means
Yeah, I heard that.
I
Yeah.
don't have the money. And that's what a lot of people do when they're buying and selling and talking about their what is it that they're doing now? They're doing the foreign
Is it
exchange.
is
The
it day
foreign
trading too? Does that fall in day
It
trading?
does, but it means I don't have the money. I've gotten a loan. I've gotten a loan to trade, but the loan is at a certain interest rate. So let's say, for example, you don't have the money to buy a Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
but you believe Netflix is getting ready to go down in price. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, that's an option. But I don't have the money even for the option, but I want to sell that option to other people. I can do that. I can do that. So I do, it's a sophisticated investor strategy. And so it's a little
That's
awkward, but
interesting.
it's different than if you just bought the shares of Netflix and then you wanted to trade it. These are yours, you own it already. In the case of a short, you have to go back and buy it and get it if someone buys it from you. So,
Can you explain that one more time? First of all, you get it from nothing.
yes, but
Then
you're
you,
paying interest on it now.
oh, but you got to pay interest on. That's the catch.
Yeah, you got to pay, and you don't get it for free. You've got to, when you buy, you're going to, or you sell, you go on a margin, which has to be qualified. You have to be a qualified investor, which means you got to have some kind of money or
Yeah, yeah.
value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, you're eligible to trade it. So it's a little bit more risque, but it's very sophisticated to someone who has not doesn't get into that part of
No,
the
I was
market.
gonna say you say risque. I was gonna say it sounds shaky to me. Okay.
It's just risk oriented. It's what when you're sitting with a financial advisor, you really need to know your what they call risk tolerance. What do I have a stomach for? If the market drops 20%, can I stay in it? If it drops 30%, do I want to jump ship? Do I have a long term investment or a short term investment? These are all the things that are important. Like when you go, I love to liken this industry to the medical field. When you sit with a doctor and they take their test and everything, that's when they determine, okay, it looks like you're pre-diabetic. You need to change this. You need, well, when you sit with a financial advisor or a financial educator, got to see, okay, you have this money that you have, but you need to use it in a year to 3 years. Well, that's a different type of investment than 5 to 10. You know, the
Uh-huh,
longer the
uh-huh.
term, the better. There's a time value of money. So these are all terms that we use. But the bottom line is that you need to have a plan so that you don't plan to fail.
What is futures? I heard of him. Futures. What is that?
Futures are contracts. Best way I think I can explain it is that, let's say we were all farmers and
Mhm.
I plan on buying corn. I'm planting corn, but the corn amount is high right now. But I believe it's going to go down. So I do a futures contract so that I can buy it for cheaper down the line, maybe 2 or 3 months later. I expect it. So it's speculating on the market that you're dealing with. It usually deals with commodities. It can also deal with stocks. It's a little different than buying options. I know in our community, a lot of people have gotten into the world of options. I
What
will,
is options, if you don't
okay,
mind?
it's your option to buy or sell. An option is either a put or a call. Okay. So you put, you think the market's going to go down. You're calling, you think the market's going to go up. And
Interesting.
and
It's almost like chess.
you sell contracts based on the idea. So let's say, for example, you have the AT&T stock and it has not moved. It is flat,
Hmm.
but you want to make some money on it. So there are people, you can offer the option to buy your 100 shares of AT&T at a future price because you feel that
Ah,
it's going to go down. And so
okay.
you want it, but you want to make money, but suppose it stays flat. Well, these people pay you a premium to have that option to buy the stock away from you.
Doesn't some of that, so, some of that leads to me, my senses, and of course, I'm not in this industry like you were, but some of that leads to like some conning or scheming or
Oh no,
scamming.
it's regulated. It's so regulated.
Yeah, because
Number
it sounds
one,
like it needs to be. It
you
sounds like
can't,
it definitely
yeah,
needs
you
to be.
can't participate. The trading is done on the exchanges. There are the, the New York Stock Exchange, of course. We have the NASDAQ. We have the futures market. We have the options market that to the stock. Everything is very highly regulated. That's why when people come up with these multi-level marketing programs, about trading, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, not licensed the first. Those licenses make it mandated that
That
we,
should be a red flag if they're not licensed. That's
oh,
what you're saying.
definitely. If they're advising you and they don't have a license to do so, there's, just for example, with the Series 6, you can do what's called mutual funds. You can do unit investment trust. You can do annuities if you have a life insurance license coupled with it. So these are things that you can offer. If you have a life insurance license, you can offer life insurance products. So that's all you can do. Okay. Then you go to the ones who are Series 7. We're able to offer what's called individual issues, such as stocks, bonds. We can do mutual funds. Also, we can do the gamut. We can offer the options market, but also we can go to whatever gamut it is. We just have to have our life insurance license with us so that we can do annuities. Okay, because that's a life insurance product that's coupled with an investment product. And
Ah,
so these are the regulations. If we're doing commodities, then therefore we have a commodities license. If we're going to offer options, individual and trade, I used to be an options trader. That's one of the most, I think, fun worlds that I was in because I had a lot of clients who owned stock back in the days. That was the 80s, the 90s. I'm dating
mhm.
myself. But During that time, there were people who owned stock or inherited stock, and they couldn't afford to really sell it. They wanted to make some money on it. And so that goes back to the 87 when I believe it was Reagan who changed the laws about our capital gains. All of this stuff has a ruling behind it. Now here we come with this cryptocurrency, which I had someone sit down with me. I said, you got to write this thing down. And it's almost like our dollar. We believe in it. We got to believe in it because it has no backing behind it. It's a thought. And that's what the world of finance is, and the world of investments is that there's a strategy, there's a mindset, there's a plan. And you never put all of your assets in one basket. Remember when grandma said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Why? Because they one break, the other break. So you have to diversify.
Is another way of saying this is consumer confidence?
Yes, it's
In
well,
other
that's
words,
what the market.
and because I keep hearing them say consumer confidence, which means I guess if consumers no longer have confidence, is the stock market in trouble? Is that what is
Well,
happening?
no, it's just that it will fluctuate. It will go up and down. And that's where we have to learn that there are hedges that we can do to protect our funds. I tell folks there's the 7 money milestones that are out here. And I love the fact that my company, Wealth Wave, that I partnership with, talks about how you get your finances and your financial picture in order. You need to make sure that you have proper insurance. Number one, you need to have a financial education because no one's talking to you. I'm shameful about my industry because the average investment advisor doesn't want to talk to anyone who doesn't have at least $100,000 income and 500,000 to invest. Well, that's not our community.
Wow, really?
Yes, that's not our community. And that then now they've lowered it a bit. 250. There's a few banks that will, talk to an investor. But what about the person who has 5,000 or the one who can save $25 a month? Or in some cases as low as $10 a month.
Seemed like there would be an advantage to that for people astute enough to tap into that market, no?
Well, the problem is again back to financial literacy. If you're a broker and you got to spend an hour with a client trying to explain how what's called an exchange traded fund works, well, in that hour, you probably could have made a good $5,000, $10,000. So
From their way of looking at it.
that's it. I had someone back. Oh, this was a while. My brother Matt was doing a economic conference at Jacob Javits, the Urban Economic Conference, and I stood up and talked about the fact that our people we need to work with, especially those of us who are brokers of color, spend time with our community educating. And I had this young Black man come up to me from Goldman Sachs and say, you've got to be kidding me. You're not going to make any money doing that. I said, well, it's not always about making the money. It's about making and changing my community.
Did
If
he get it?
he did not, he thought I was a fool. That's what he said. He said, that's foolish. I said, but I'll be around here longer than you will. Because if you're in this business just to make money, you're in the wrong business. We make money. Yes, brokers make money. I'm so sorry that I can't figure out. And if anybody out there in the audience can help me to find my young folks to come into this industry, I've done seminars, career fairs, trying to show that the being a broker and a financial advisor is so important in our community. And what happens is our children only see the people who wear suits or look professional are the social workers, because that's who comes
Interesting.
to the door. If I could get them to look at and not see the fact that financial advisors look like me too, and they're not just the white male, even though the definitely the industry is still very predominantly white males. But we're here. I trade, and I trade through Transamerica Financial Advisors, and that's one of the things is that they're the leading broker dealer in bringing women into the industry. And I believe that we as women do phenomenal, because of the fact is that we know how to shop the market, and we know how to be patient. We know how to deal with these two things here, and sometimes shut this one up. Oh, I see someone's telling us Soul City. Yes, every Thursday at 6 p.m., I do a show called Access Wealth Nation. I talk about financial literacy. I don't talk about individual trades and stocks. I don't do individual planning on the air. I give concepts and ideas. So this Thursday, tomorrow at 6 p.m., I'm going to have a fellow financial advisor on with me, Dr. James Wilkerson, because he and I both are part of this major platform to bring financial literacy into our community, talk to our people.
And I'm going to be your guest on next Thursday.
Yes, you are. And we're going to talk about these numbers
Oh
because
yeah.
these numbers are, it's interesting. I tell folks all the time that numbers don't lie. Okay, people do, but
Yes, they
numbers
do.
don't lie.
Yes, they do.
And so if 1 + 1, you're going to, and that's how that cryptocurrency, this guy told me, he said, with the currency to create and mine coins, he said that you have to, so let's say, for example, I give you a mathematical equation and it says 1 + 1 = 3. And I was like, okay. He says, but you got to make it work. So you're going in and mining to make that equation work. And people are investing in how you're going to solve it. That's the bottom line behind those coins being mined. And they're usually
Really?
behind also some of the companies, stocks that are out there. But it's not the pure industry, nor is it regulated. And that's a problem for me. It's not looked upon as, no one's really protecting the investor, and that's important because our people need to be protected, because they get hurt once, it's over.
Oh yeah, that's it. We don't get burned 2 or 3 times.
We
But
not,
here's
it's
the
just
thing to
like,
me. If
mhm.
they're doing that, wouldn't it be in their best interest, the persons advise them to give them the best advice so they could have a continual relationship and build from there?
Well, some, yes, and I agree with you. But the thing is that some, I hate to use the term, but they sort of churn and burn. Let me get you in there, and that's against the law. Also, that's a law that you can't do that. It's just making money off of people. But when people don't think your worth is important, I have listened to investment advisors who say, it's a waste of time. I just don't see it. I don't agree with it. I believe that, we really need to learn because we can create generational wealth. This is so important. What you do today will affect your children and your grandchildren. And we need to stop inheriting debt and bring forth benefits.
But it
One
seems like
generation.
this nation has been built upon and encouraging the of debt. Other nations are taught to at least save something.
Yeah. It's just like, back in the days, and I remember before I got in this industry, I was a very young, and my auntie passed away, and she had been paying into a life insurance policy, and it was all of a whopping $1,000, and she paid her, I think it was $17 every year for it, and I was like, why would somebody do that? And it was because it was insurance. That's where the insurance broker came knocking on the door. The investment advisor didn't knock on the door, you know and that's what's so important is that we do knock on the door. Let us talk to you, but we've got to get, like you said, there has to be a trust factor. There has to be so I don't just sit like people will come to me and say, so what's the best stock right now? Or what's the best investment right now? And I say, well, what's best for you? And I need to sit down and analyze to see what's best for you. What do you have? We know how to make money and we sure know how to spend it. But do we
Oh,
know how
yes,
to make
yes, we
that
do.
money work for us?
Because
That's what we need to do.
because they said that the consumer debt, the credit card debt, is almost in the trillions of dollars. I
Oh
mean, it's
yeah.
like,
And it's gonna go further. Why? I hate to call my folks out, but I'm gonna call them out. Is that I passed by in Harlem, the projects, and there's doggone Maybachs. I didn't even know what a doggone Maybach was till I passed through, and I was like, "That's a beautiful car," but it's sitting on the side of the projects, you know. And I'm a project girl. I grew up in the projects. I'm like, but a Maybach or a Hummer, paying 1,500 a month for a car that depreciates instead of putting that same money into something that would generate by putting away $100 a month in an insurance policy or in an investment after years. Yes, it does take time, but over that time, you could create what we call today's child, tomorrow's millionaire. They can have $1 million, and it's going to depreciate in value. It's going to have inflation, but if somebody left you at the age of 67, $1 million, I don't care what year that is. That's $1 million you're ahead of the game,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's a retirement. How many people, which they need to know what their number is, but how many people know what that number is that I can retire? People, we have majority of my clients happen to work for the city and state and some for the federal. When you retire, you only get like 50% of what you were making. So if you weren't making it off of the 100%, how are you going to make it on the 50%? Most people wind up going to get another job or they learn this thing. Welcome to Walmart.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, speaking of the cars, the Maybachs, there
Yes.
was a thing I got. It says the auto loan delinquency rate keeps rising in this country. Subprime auto loan delinquency rates just crossed above 4% for the first time on record. The 60-day delinquency rate for subprime auto loans has more than doubled in just 3 years. Delinquency rates now exceeds both 2008 and 2020 levels. At the same time, prime auto loan delinquencies spiked to their highest since 2011, and meanwhile, car insurance skyrocketed 15% in the first half of 2024 to an average of $2,325, the most on record. Subprime loans. Talk about that. What's the difference between a prime loan and a subprime loan in autos?
Means that basically you didn't qualify. But you know how they have these little advertisements that you can buy a car for $69?
Yeah, I heard that. I'm serious. I'm serious. I said, "Oh, I could go get me one myself."
Your interest rate, and that's why the rule of 72 is so important, because it tells you how much your money can double. Because if you divide your interest rate into 72, it will tell you how frequently your money doubles. So if you get 1%, it's going to take you 72 years for your money to double.
Can you
But
give us a number example if a person has?
$1.
I was going to at least give it about a grand, about a
Okay, so
hundred
you got a
dollars.
grand.
Okay, 1,000. So the rule of 72. How do you? In other words, I just took out a loan from a company for $1,000,
Mm.
and then the rule
What's your
of,
interest rate?
well, the interest rate now is almost
Well, you
like
can get above prime, so you could possibly get, if your credit score is high, they come for you. So your credit score, let's say you're at a 700, 750, and someone offers you a 9% interest rate. Okay, so therefore every 8 years your principal will double. So you're paying, if you're only paying the minimum, Now, that's one thing I got to give credit to President Obama. He made it so that if you get a debt, that it has to be reported on how long it'll take if you paid the minimum. So if that's the case,
That could be forever, though.
mhm. It can be. There are some people who are in so much debt that they will be paying that debt for 25, 30 years. And it's because they're
Wow.
only paying the minimum. You always have to pay more. And that's where the, okay, I'm going to curse, budget. Okay, you've got to get a budget. You've got to put yourself in a position of where you know you can pay this off. And it's almost like being a person who operates on themselves. You know, it's dangerous. You need to have a professional sit with you and put things together, because when you have to tell on yourself, you'll act differently, you know. And so, okay, the way the world is going, retirement seems unattainable. No, it's not true. It's just that we've got to set our focus. I appreciate that statement, because retirement is attainable. Retirement's going to come no matter what, because at some point you're going to get tired. Okay. That's what I call retirement. People say, when are you going to retire, Jana? I said, not going to get to, retire, because I ain't tired. I love what I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the thing is that it is an option that you can, but you've really got a plan, and you don't wait until you're 60 years old to say that I'm getting ready to retire. I have a chart. Someone who's in their 20s, if they focused on their retirement at age 67, they could put away as little as $100 a month all those years, and they just do slow and steady. And they will have, if they get keep it at about a 9% interest rate, they will have the option of having $1 million for retirement. Now, the rule is, once you get that $1 million, you're only supposed to take about 4% of it every year, so you make it last. Well, that means that you're living on about $40,000. So you got to have some other stuff. You got that plus Social Security and hopefully a pension. You doing okay. You're doing okay. But most people don't do that. They wake up at 60 years old and say, I have to retire, or they lose their jobs. And then at that point, mm, they're going to have to put away approximately about $13,000 a month. So that's not attainable. You know, now there are people who put away money, especially couples. They let one put away for the retirement and the other person pay the bills. I just say, make sure you have a good contract with each other, because you don't want one walking off with the retirement account.
Sure, sure,
But
sure.
yeah, that's the thing with these loans, though. These subprime loans, these are, okay, prime right now is running somewhere around 8%. But that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about these loans that are what I call predatory loans. You'll never get out of them. You know, it's just like payday loans. Thank God in New York they're illegal, but our
Yeah, I was
surrounding,
going to say, isn't that something like that? Doesn't sound legit to me.
but
They're predatory.
it's outside of the New York area that allows you to get a payday loan. You see the advertisements, they say that we can get your pay to you faster. We're going to take a loan. You know, those loans run anywhere between 100 to 300%
Are you
in interest.
serious? That's all their money.
And but I need it now, you know, because we the now generation. I need it now. So I need my money faster. No, you don't. You need to watch these things. That and all the other get rich quick stuff out here. Be careful. Be careful. Because if it comes fast, there's a good chance it's gonna leave fast. You know, but a 300% loan, even if it's paid within a week's time, you're looking at somewhere around 30% that you're paying back. This is loan shark world.
And so when you apply that rule of 72, it'll be forever and a day before you even break even. if
Yeah,
you
you're
would
not
do that.
going to. You're going to go into. I know people who have gone in and they're not negotiable. So like your credit cards are negotiable as far as if you've been with a credit card company for a long time, you have the option to, say, "Hey, we've been married for a long time. Let's talk about our interest rates." I have an interest rate of 30%. Well, can we bring it down? And it can be done, but we don't talk to that. We don't know we have that power. We can transfer our credit card balances to other credit card companies. You know why they do that? Let me just tell you this.
Please do.
The
Please.
reason why they negotiate and want to take your balance is because it has to do with called a spread. So the credit card companies, if you're paying, let's say, 20% to them, they can go and take that money and that you're paying, and they can go negotiate loans, or they can make money off of it at a lower interest rate. So they're making money on your money that you're giving, just like the banks. Love the banks, serve a purpose, not to keep your big investments there. That's my opinion, just my opinion. But if the banks offer you, let's say, 5%, well, the market, the S&P 500, Standards and Poor's 500, is running at 9%. That's a 4% spread. See, that's why numbers in you is so important. you know, 4%. Well, they're making 4% on your money. I challenge anybody to go to the bank with $5,000 in cash, put it in the bank, come back in an hour, no more than an hour, and say, I'd like to get I think I want my 5,000 back. They're going to give you a bank check because that money is in the credit card
Really?
loans, it's in the house loans, it's in the car loans. It's gone.
Listen, see, I've got so many questions. I'm going to try to end this on time this evening. I
Okay.
got questions for you. First of all, what is liquidity?
Mm.
Who's he?
I like this. We're going to give them personalities. I'm going to steal that from you. Liquidity is just that, it's the ability to utilize your money in a short term basis. So, how long does it take this? That's just like your savings account. That's a liquid account. That means I can go in on the same day and get my money out.
Ah,
So, what's my liquid level? And it counts because emergencies come. So that's like your emergency account. I tell folks they need to have at least 6 months to a year of their take home pay in an emergency. Why? Well, years before COVID, I told them because emergencies arise. Well, it's not going to arise. It did arise, COVID. So
it
most of
is
my
here.
clients
Yeah, yeah.
were able to survive because they had their emergency funds. Now, once you establish your emergency fund and you use it, put it back, start building it again. These are the things that are so important. And that's why I give a free financial analysis to anybody who wants to have it. I have the books, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, because that's what we are. Think about it when you go into the bank. Look to
Hold
the
on.
left.
Here's the book right here.
Yes, that's how you get the,
Hold
yep,
on. Let me take the banner off a second so people can see it.
that's it. Those are some of my partners who created that book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. And it's simple reading. And so those who would like it, they can go to my website that was on the banner. It's wealthway.com/Jana B. That's Jana with a J.
Well, let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
It was this book you gave me when I came to your office.
Yes.
I must have read that in a day because it's really easy reading. It's
No more
almost
than
like
an hour.
for junior high school, elementary to read. So it's not complicated. It's not long. It's not wordy. All that stuff where you need a dictionary by you to read those words. But it had changed the way I look at money.
That's
It
so
changed
important.
the way I deal with money.
It's
This
a
little simple book,
simple
How
book.
Money Works, this is
Mhm.
an incredible book. And in fact, every parent should have this, not only for them, but for their children too.
Without a doubt, that should be their nighttime reading. the stories. We have other books. As a matter of fact, now, yeah, that one's not printed. Again, they're going to go into reprint, which is How Money Works for Women: Take Control or Lose It. We have another one, Change Your Literacy, Change Your Life. That's an ebook. There's also one coming out called The Millennials: How Money Works for Young People, uh, written by young folks. And so we're bringing the literacy to it. The company Wealth Wave has put out a program right now that is about bringing literacy to our community and the Black and Brown community. So they've rolled out a blog. So if you go to my website of wealthwave.com/Yana B and go to the blog, it is a special blog that says "Together We Rise." And it's a short, as a matter of fact, you don't even have to read. The thing reads to you.
It's like
We're
that, right?
trying to
Those
make it
lazy folks, right?
as simple as possible for folks, but it does talk about the mission, and it pulls in not only myself, James Wilkerson, and there's about two others. There's Lester Barron. There's a few Black financial advisors, Mariko Walker. But also there's Michelle Obama's quote, and there's Oprah's quote, and of
Yeah,
course,
I saw the website. Let me ask you this:
Mhm.
when you said a person, if they go and deposit a $5,000, come back later, they'll give them a check. Since the Frank Dodd Act, now it's what is called a bail-in, not a bailout. From what I'm gathering, it is if you got money in there and all of a sudden there's a panic or run on the banks, they can keep your money.
Well, see, the thing is, we will probably never see another run on the banks. We will see bank takeovers. That's what we saw last year. There was banks like Santana, Republic.
Yeah.
We will see that only because it's dangerous for a run on the bank because the money's not there. you know, so they
So
got to
this is
keep.
why they're concerned about consumer confidence.
Yes, that's why. And they've got to keep that up. So they have to give. So what does the bank do? They give you little stuff. They used to give you toasters. Now they give you a little step up on your interest. They'll send you, if you got enough money, give you a financial advisor. But you have to have over $250,000 for them to do that. But what do they do then? They give you these little cards. They'll give you a card that has a gold card. It's a credit card. So they want you to leave your money in the bank and use the credit. These are the games and the ploys. That's why that book, Stop Being a Sucker. When we first issued this book in 2012, it was a book that with the sucker, it happened because when we went in the bank, there was suckers at the front of the teller's unit. And guess
Lollipop.
what they were? They were dum-dums. So were they telling you something? you know and so that same company that makes dum dum lollipops makes also Smartie candy. So how come the Smarties weren't used? Because they don't want you smart. They want you to be a dum dum. They want you to give them money. I mean, I've had clients come to me and say, look, I got a 5-year CD and it's at 5%. And I said, yeah, but inflation's at 8. Now it's come down since then, but inflation, so your money's not growing at your buying power. Got to think about that and got to change. You've got to have some trust. You have to understand that, yes, there are people that are out here that don't mean you any good, but there are so many folks who are investment advisors, certified investment advisors, who can help you and to help you to move forward in your financial strategy. So just like the person who just said retirement seems like almost unattainable. No, it is, but there's few factors. Number one, how much money you got to work with. Number two, how much time you got to work with. Number three, What kind of vehicles are you willing to put your money in to make it grow? Trust.
Now, let me get back to this. So because they're saying that the power of the dollar is not has got much juice as it has since 1971,
It
when
hasn't had it hasn't had juice in so long. It's
yes, since
all
I mean, because they said when President Nixon, it's interesting because he's a Capricorn born on January the 9th, and it was in 1971, the year of the nine, when he took this country off the gold standard, and it's been
right. Well,
downhill ever since then.
it was really taken off totally in 1933, and it
And that was
hasn't been.
Roosevelt under
Yeah,
Executive
under
Code
Roosevelt.
6102.
And
6102.
so we do need, and so to the brother's attribute is that he's right. You need to get some gold. Gold is expensive. I remember when I started trading in 84, gold was somewhere around about $800. It's now 2000. So time, two thousand
No,
four
it's
hundred.
past 2000. It's almost 2800.
Yeah, so it's increased in value. The key is, what word you asked me was liquidity. How liquid? It takes a bit to trade. You know, you've got to also have some trust. Like, I had a person, which I don't know what happened to him, but he had a full bar, gold bar, and he wanted to sell it. Well, you got to find the person who will buy it from you. It's very weighty. I personally, I like silver. Silver is a lot more economical to get. But just like the brother said, is that you get the silver and then you get enough of it, it appreciates, then you trade off and get some gold. You need to have that. But you also need to have some other things. You need to have some stocks, some bonds, you got your 401k plans, your 403bs. The average American does not understand what in the world that is. Those are tax terms. Those are tax regulations to say you can put money away and leave it there, don't have to pay taxes on it until you get ready to take it out. And when you take it out, you have to be at least 59 and a half.
Interesting.
Okay, but that's long-term investing, but it's not the only thing you do. You need to have a few things working for you. In 2008, we saw that. It was a great lesson because you had the opportunity with, in 2008, the bond market crashed, the stock market crashed, the housing market crashed, and people went ballistics. Well, look at us now. We're at an all-time high of the market. We just needed to wait and time. But if you're retiring today, you can't do that. And that's what happened to a lot of people in '08. They were ready to retire and couldn't because they didn't have enough. Oh, someone received the book.
Yeah,
Thank you very
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah.
And I hope you read it and read it again and share it. And if you need a financial, within the back of the book, it offers a discovery call. That means to discover where you are and where you'd like to be.
It's
And
an excellent book. I'm telling you, it changed the way I have dealt with monies.
I'm loving to
In
hear
fact,
it.
it's improved a lot just by basic understanding that I took for granted.
That's it. And that's where you have the discussion with the children at the table, because it's a shame to put all this money away and build wealth and then they go and spend it all. And then one of the things is having a will, having a health directive. All these things are important, and we don't do it. We do now. If you're spending that much money on a car, like $1,500 a month, you need to really think about that. Is
Now,
it
this
worth?
person here says, what is the best way of investing? Buying gold and silver or putting it in a fund?
Depends on how much money you have, but I do believe you should have a little bit of both. But if you're looking to invest in gold and silver, I wouldn't do it through a fund. I think you should have it physically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
physical gold, because 9/10 is possession of the law.
that's it.
Right? Yeah.
But let's sit down and talk. I have a team of people who will sit and do a financial strategy, and it doesn't matter where you live. That's where I do give a plus to COVID, because Zoom came about to really understand we can talk to someone anywhere and serve them. We used to could only do in our area. I'm licensed in every state except for Hawaii, come to think about it, because I don't have any clients in Hawaii, but I'll be glad to get some.
That's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, okay? I've been there. It's like a dot. If the ocean burps, Hawaii is a wrap. Seriously.
Okay, so that's the only place, but be willing to sit and talk. Tomorrow, oh, must mention this. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock,
Oh, please.
every,
Isn't
yeah,
this will deal with the let me do this.
this is a
This is
financial
on the flyer.
literacy. It's
Hold on,
called
let me
the,
take this off a second, the
okay.
comment. I think
If you
it's
go,
whoops, 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 whoops. Let me take
it
the
doesn't
banner
want
off.
to,
This
there
is
we
at the
go.
bottom of the screen. Is that correct?
Yes, it's challenge.smartmoneybooks.com. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. So that's after my show. Way after that. My show's at 6. So at 8 o'clock, there's a team of people who do what we call the elements, and it's only an hour, but it gives you the basics, and it's rotating, so it covers all the assets. So all you have to do is register, and you only have to register once because it'll keep coming. And there's 5 different sessions on the element, and then it goes into the importance of women investing, and then there's another one about E to E. It's called employee to entrepreneur, because we need to have business owners. It is so important at this stage in the economy that we get business owners. So if you have an idea and it's part of your passion, as a matter of fact, I talk about this all the time, is that when you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, you are still wanting to do this and you're working towards it. You need to get your business structure together straight. Please, Lord, not just be an LLC, but what kind of LLC? And then set your business. We need businesses in our community. Africa would love to do business with us, but we don't have our structures set up properly. We don't have our businesses set up. We need to get busy with that. So, those of you who have that bug, that entrepreneur spirit, take a look at, there's a thing called E to E. That's one of the sessions that we do on a Thursday. As a matter of fact, we just did it last Thursday on E to E. How important it is to not just be an employee, but to be an entrepreneur. Now, everybody's not supposed to be an entrepreneur. Okay, what did I do?
No, I was gonna say teacher.
Yes, yes, student.
Listen, I saw something whereby by December the 31st, all LLCs, if they don't fill out this beneficiary something paper, they can be
Okay,
fined about $500
yeah, yeah.
a day or maybe more. Can you explain that right quick
Yeah,
for
that's been put
those
on
entrepreneurs?
it's on a hiatus right now. It is not going to be implemented because it's being challenged, and I think that those that are challenging, especially our legislative body, is going to null and void it. But yes, it was.
What is it about? If it
It's
should go
a
through,
way
what
to
were they
get
trying to
money.
implement?
It was a way for them to get money and to find out how many LLCs are really registered and working. And but that, so far, if you go to the, oh, I forgot the name of the site, but if you just Google, it'll say that it's been put on hiatus for that. But it was originally for the end of this year. You were supposed to fill out these forms,
It was
and
supposed to be
then
free to fill out, supposedly.
it is free. It's free. See, they're trying to monitor. It's about how do you get
Ah,
people to tell, you've got all these people with LLCs. Like I tell folks, if I had $1 for every LLC that's out here, I would be a sectillionaire. That's 21 zeros behind the dollar. Everybody got an LLC, but when you get to your accountant, the first thing they're going to say, how are you taxed? Because an LLC is a state entity, it is not a federal entity. So, therefore, how are you taxed? Are you taxed as a sole member? That's a DBA, like a Schedule C. Is it a partnership? Is it more than one member? Well, then that's a partnership. You file a 1065 form. Is it taxed as an S Corp? That's an 1120S. Is it taxed as a corp? The only reason why LLCs were existence was because attorneys wanted to assist in helping people not have the corporate veil pierced because you did not fill out the rest of the forms. You did not do your annual meeting. You
Your due
didn't do
diligence, so
the
to
due
speak.
diligence. That's it. So that's the LLC minimizes that, but you still need to know how you're taxed. And people don't understand. Well, I got an LLC. Great. How you taxed? I don't know. Well, tell me about your LLC. You know,
Wow.
and that's the other thing is the world is moving in taxes. We just finished October the 15th. Yesterday was the close of extensions. People have a tendency to wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of folks who still owe. There's a lot of people who owe taxes out there. Be careful with some of these companies that say they can get you out of the tax problem. They are charging almost half of what you owe,
Uh,
you know. So you have to be careful, interview them. But there are ways to getting out. One of the best things is why IRS comes for you is because you keep throwing those letters off to the side and don't open them. Open them, talk to them. You know, if you can't pay
so in
this,
other words, it's better you talk to them than they come and talk to you.
oh yeah, because they're going to take number one, they'll change your withholding on your job that you have to file single zero. Not that you want to, but you have to.
That means that
Not,
takes out the most tax if you
that's
file
right.
zero.
That's
Hmm.
right, because they tired of playing with you. Okay. Then the other thing is they'll come for your social security, your pension. They'll come take it if you don't, because they need. They're like the mother trying to chastise the child, and the mother said, "Come here," and the child don't move. Come here, they don't move, so they go get you. Now, when mama comes to get you,
It's
it's
you.
not
Oh yeah.
pretty.
Oh yeah, they pretty.
So those are the things that we have to. Financial literacy is so important. The things that are here are set up to make you fearful. It's like one of the candidates for president. They try to scare you. You don't need to be frightened. You need to address things. You need to understand how they work, and then you have to live your life and live accordingly. But there are people who are here to help you. You need to talk. It's just like if someone diagnosed you with cancer, you got two choices: go into hiding and do nothing, or fight for your life. You need to fight for your life.
You know, as I said, you've always been my favorite when you started the show, and now saying that you still my favorite, even more so.
I love you, Lloyd. I
I love
do.
you
Oh,
too.
let me put my little plug in. I don't know all of you who are out there, but if you don't have that A star 8, you're losing out. I know you'll love to talk to Lloyd, and you get your little personal readings, which is important because they work. It's really true. But that A star 8, it's your Lloyd in your pocket.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As one of my kids said, it's like having, they said daddy in the pocket. I said, Lord, they don't understand daddy, okay? I ain't no player, okay?
But I just love it. And again, people who are wealthy. But who was the person you said that was one of the millionaires that always had a reader? Had the
Oh, JP Morgan.
Okay, yeah, I've joined him.
Yeah,
That's right.
and in fact, JP Morgan actually had an astrologer, Evangeline Adams, and had an astrologer on his staff. Now,
Oh,
he died on March the 31st of 1912.
wow.
JP Morgan still exists.
You see that?
And in her book, The Bowl of Heaven, Evangeline Adams, in her autobiography, explained how, in fact, she taught him astrology.
Oh, there we go. Well,
Yeah.
that's as soon as I can get some when you give another one of them classes, I'm going to be in, because I'm telling you, our world works on a spiritual basis.
Mm-hmm.
And we are always dealing in a physical basis, but it's not. To get to the physical, you have to go the metaphysical. And so that's where my focus is. I'm a metaphysician, proud to be one. But then the thing is that we've got to work on a spiritual basis, and we got to get our house in order. You got to get your stuff in order. Stop hiding and not taking care of or saying those words to our children, which are terrible. We can't afford it. We're broke. All those words have energy. It's, I tell folks, you're not broke. It's just circulating a lot slower.
Yeah. In fact, the Reverend Ike says that you don't spend money, you're circulating the money.
That's it. And
If
he
you
was a
circulate, it
metaphysician
comes
also.
back.
Yeah, you're circulating it. And it may be a little slower, but you're circulating so that you can have and your family can have. And don't be so selfish. Make sure that you do a plan that's not just for you, but for the next generation and the next. We need to have generational wealth. We need to, and we to do that. Just one more side note: if you're an entrepreneur, we can hire our children for summer jobs instead of trying to find them one.
Interesting.
And it's tax deductible.
Interesting.
And you can set up their own Roth for them.
And that's why you'll need to call 646-375-2121. That's 646-375-2121. Again, I'll repeat it because I know somebody's looking for a pen or paper to get it. So I'm going to say it slow. It is 646-378-2121.
Definitely.
There it is.
And I'm all over the internet. So anytime you need some help, reach out. We will answer. We get hit with a lot of calls, but I make sure that they're continuously, gotten back to.
And let me just do this too. This is where people should go if they want to be at attendance tomorrow at the challenge.money smartmoneybooks.com, right? At
Yes.
8 o'clock.
Register and attend the class, and just say that I invited you, because they're going to ask who referred you. Just say Dr. Jana.
That's all they need to say.
That's
That's
all
all
they
they
need
need
to
to say.
do. It's
Good,
it's
good.
free. It's free. Knowledge is power, but the action is what we need.
Yeah, yeah. Jana, thank you so much, dear. Thank you so, so much. And by the way, please get this book, How Money Works. And this book will be available. Also, you said this book will be available at some point later.
Oh yeah, that one's coming. But if you go to the website, you can order it, and we'll make sure. Just know that when we order it, you've got to give us an address. People, I have to call back and get the address because it's a physical book.
And actually, and you're doing it for free, right?
Yes.
But if they go on Amazon, they got to pay $16.
Yeah. And I don't understand why people do
I
that.
don't understand it either. So since we like to have this, can you spare? Is it free? I think that's the way to go and get your free book on
Yeah. All
how
I ask is
money
that everyone
works.
read it. And if you got something out of it, share it.
Well, it changed my life. It changed my life.
Thank
Jana, thank you so much. I love you so much.
Love
And
you too. And of course, you're going to be on my show
next
next week.
Thursday. Oh, yeah.
Yes, next Thursday at 6 o'clock. Come to Access Wealth Nation. Lloyd's going to be there. We're going to
And in
have
fact, if Matt can make me a flyer, I'll make sure on Wednesday, the day before, I will post it so people can see. Other than that, I might forget. All righty.
Okay, no, we're not going to let you forget. You're going to know. I'll have him make the flyer. Okay.
Thank you. Love you much. Bye
Love
bye.
you too. Bye bye.
Okay, everybody. It's finances. Listen, you got to have your money tight too. It's nice to know what your numbers are, but it ain't gonna mean nothing if you ain't got your money tight. So the show has been brought to you by uh, Portia Cooper. She has an event coming up this Saturday, the 19th, on cryptocurrency. Also, the show has been brought to you by Nicholas Brooklyn out in Brooklyn, New York at 1396 Fulton Street. They're going to have a pop-up shop featuring the guest that I had on last Wednesday. Okay, brother Nankuru. Um, and he talked about the precious metals, but the more spiritual, esoteric side. Then you got my brother King Simon going to be there also toward the end of the month on the 27th with Sister Amira Hassan and Tamika Royal. And I'm going to try to get him on also. And then also Miss Kimberly, who is sponsoring the show, Manifest on Purpose. And by the way, she is having a 2025 Vision Board Mastery class on the very first day of the year to get you started properly. Then finally, there is Riza Islam in his supplements, wonderful supplements. When you go to intellectualpowers.net, click on the QR code, and you will definitely be get a discount. By the way, I have 3 new projects coming up next year. One is I am teaching a workshop how to be a professional numerologist in February the 25th. It's going to be a 5-week course. So for those of you, you need to go to Numbers and You podcast at llc.com. I'll make sure we get that address there. That's Numbers and You podcast at llc@gmail.com. Also, secondly, one of my favorite loves that I didn't tell you about is I'm going to have a palmistry class in April, teaching you how to read the hands. The general Napoleon, the general one says, the face may deceive, but the hand never. So you can have a person put up all the makeup in the world, but when they open their palm, that will tell the real story. And then from January to December of next year, I'm going to start the Power Series. The power of cycles, the power of the name, the power of money, the power of precious metals, the power of this, that, and the other. All the things you need so you can, things that I can't probably express on certain platforms because of whatever guidelines they have. But this way we can go all out. So these will be the projects that are coming up for me in the year 2025. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. By the way, the monthly newsletters are absolutely free. We don't sell your email list, not at all. And for those of you who may not want to read it, you can definitely hear it by going to YouTube and clicking on Kimberly, KIMBALEY _ to listen to the forecast for that. And this is what we do. We just give you signs and numbers and all that stuff. So it's going to be real, real nice. And by the way, I do have to thank Jana and promoting my Star 8 app. I'm very proud of it. It's getting there. It's a work in progress. I had no idea sometimes when you don't know, but I'm glad I've stepped out on faith to do this. And it's very, very helpful. And in fact, one of the things is today is a double star, green star day for both Jana and I. Okay, well, I ain't going to tell you all out, so you can download the app yourself. Okay, you can do it at go to star8.com or go to your site. All righty. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. Have a nice weekend. I'm trying to get Jackie Barrios on the show Monday, if not Wednesday. Now, who's Jackie Barrios? Jackie Barrios is the woman that made it possible for me to start Numbers in You on this show. And so I always give her props. She is an angel. I am so blessed to meet all these nice people and you who support me. So I thank you all. Y'all have a very, very nice day. Please take good care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. Until then.